Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
George, over the past couple of minutes, we've heard some giggling in the background. I actually think I heard her eye roll a minute ago as well.
Oh, you did? Angie's sitting here next to me, and she's doodling. Yes, I'm here with Angie, my sister, and the Medicare specialist.
Angie, love having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us here this weekend.
Thank you for having me, guys, today. I appreciate it.
And George, you were saying, her specialty there at the Betraya Wealth Group?
We all do everything. You know, when you come to work with Betraya Wealth, I think what really makes us very unique is that everything's under one roof. You get your financial planning done. You get money management done. You get CPA business done, your law. We do wills. We do trusts. And we do Medicare. These are the parts of your retirement that are so darn important and so many people don't understand. When we talk about taxes, oh my gosh, people roll their eyes. And taxes are hard. They really are confusing. Do I do a Roth conversion? How do I plan properly to keep as much money in my pocket and then give it to the government? That's a huge part. This other part might as well be a different language when it comes to Medicare. The rules. What's better, Medicare Advantage, supplements? Do I need to sign up for something? What do I do? I sit there and I just call and I say, okay, she'll be right with you. And Angie takes care of it. And it's a lesson every day we're together about the advantages and how to work this system through.
So, Angie, let's talk about that for a second here. Why is this your specialty? Because you could have gone in any direction with the Betraya Wealth Group.
Well, I do everything in the office, but the reason why I started with the Medicare and the Medicaid is because the guys didn't want to do it. It got on their nerves. We service whatever the customer is looking for. So whatever we're selling, we have to be tested in. Mm-hmm. So it's easier if one person does all the testing and does all the studying than to have 5 or 6 people doing the same thing.
Right.
So that's how I got involved with it. And actually, I like it very much.
Well, it's not being funny about this. I am the baby in the family out of 5 siblings. Angie is my older sister. Obviously, if I'm the youngest, someone has to be older. And she's living through this. She lived through it with my brother-in-law, Spanky. She's on Medicare now, obviously, because she's at that age. And she's dealing with it not just for work, but for herself. Mm-hmm. So what a better way to go through. I always wonder, Angie, so many people, and we do federal employees, we do private people, we do teachers. They sign up for Medicare. What's the first way they have to do it? What's the beginning point for them?
Well, the beginning point is if you're employed and you're waiting to retire, you would, at 65, whether you're working or you're not working, the first part would be to sign up for Part A. You don't have to sign up for Part B while you're currently employed and you have credible coverage at your employment. Once you retire, though, and you're over the age of 65, you have to sign up for Part B and look at your insurances. That's when it becomes critical. While you're employed, you only have to sign up for Part A.
And Part A is free, right?
Part A is free as long as you have 10 years, you've been employed 10 years. That's why I tell everybody to sign up for Part A. It helps alleviate in some of the costs when you use it with your own insurance. And then when you retire, you have to sign up for Part B, and then we sit down and determine and look at what benefits you the best. We have to look at the whole package. We look at your whether you'd be on Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare Supplement plan. We look at the drugs that you take and what the cost factor is going to be for you in the future.
Or sometimes does it make sense for customers, clients, family members of Betraya Wealth, if when they've left XYZ company and they're allowed to keep their insurance, does it make sense sometimes for them to do that?
Yes, not many companies allow you to keep your insurance when you retire, very few. Federal employees are permitted to do so, and they're pumped up all through life that they have the best plan out there, and they have a great plan. I'm not disputing that. The big issue is when you retire, and if you're permitted to keep your health insurance, is we look at the drugs. That is the key factor, because in retirement, the drugs are definitely not fair for the seniors. They have done some great things this past year. They changed the out-of-pocket expenses, the donut hole. So the maximum that a person would have to pay is $2,000 plus the $590 deductible. Originally, it was $8,600 plus your deductible, which caused so many people not to be able to afford their drugs, seniors. Mm-hmm. So now that they've changed the rules, it's much better for them. But as a federal employee, we would look at first what your plan's offering and what the cost factor is for your drugs if you're on very expensive drugs. That's the key. So everybody's different. If we can move you, the best plan that's out there are the supplemental plans. They're the Rolls Royces of the products that are out there.
Why would you say that? Because I know I watch TV, and you'll see Snoop Dogg come on, or Joe Namath come on, right? And he says, look, I can get money back if I take Medicare Advantage.
Yes.
What's the difference between that Medicare Advantage and the supplements? Do I still need options A and B?
To have a Medicare Advantage plan, you must be signed up for Part A and Part B, okay? And how that works is your Part B premium that you're paying, which right now is $185 for most people, we'll put it that way. That portion that you pay, the $185, the government pays the insurance company for you to have that insurance, okay? But there are a lot of out-of-pocket deductibles, and it might have a total annual deductible of $6,500. We'll just use that number. The worst that's going to happen to you is you're going to have to pay up to $6,500. After you pay that, you would have 100% coverage. And I say $6,500, but that's something major that's going to happen to you, like triple bypass surgery or, something major. There's still out-of-pocket expenses. So it gives you a little bit of dental, gives you a little bit of vision, it gives you your drug plan, gives you a little bit of everything. But every time you're going to use it, you're paying a cost factor. So if you have an MRI, you're going to have to pay $200. Mm-hmm. If you go into the emergency room, you're going to have to pay $100. You go to a doctor's visit, it's $25. So
your hand's always in your pocket.
Your hand's always in your pocket. Gotcha. And when you retire, your life changes. You're on a fixed income, whether it be $5,000 a month or $20,000 a month. You're still, basically, most people are on a fixed income. So this way, you're never really sure what your costs are going to be, because as we age, we're not getting healthier, we're getting sicker.
So you have the Medicare Advantage, which I'm nickel and dimed. Every day you look, your hand's in your pocket.
Yes.
And then you have the supplements. What's the advantage with the supplements?
The supplements are the best plan that's out there right now, if you were to be 65, is the Plan G. And you would pay the first $220 out of pocket, and then you would have 100% coverage. So no matter what happens, if you have 3 triple bypasses this year and you're in the hospital, 150 days, you're covered. You don't have to worry. You would only pay the first $220.
Is that one time? So if I go to the doctor, they pay right away $220 right off the top?
So if you go to the doctor's visit, and the doctor's visit's $150, like I have Plan G, I get a bill, it says I owe $45. And then I go to another doctor, and it's a $200 visit. I get a bill that says $60. And then I get a letter from Medicare saying, Ms. Politarhos, you met your $220 deductible. Now you've met all your deductibles for the year. Okay. So no matter what happens to me the rest of the year and where I go, I don't pay another dime out of pocket. Okay. So I know each year what my fixed costs are going to be, which is a huge difference. Now, the difference is the supplemental plans are more expensive. They're more cost factor because you pay Part A and Part B, which is the $185, and then it's determined by your age for the supplemental plans. But the good thing is about the supplemental plans, they're accepted throughout the United States, anywhere. So you don't have to worry about if you're in another state, if something happens to you. You're going to be 100% covered.
And with the supplements, does that include the prescriptions?
No, it doesn't. That's why Part D, the drug plan, comes into play. Okay? And that's what we look at, your drugs. So there's so many different things when you're ready to retire. It's not just one aspect that you're looking at that you have to sign up. So we sign up for Part A, we sign up for Part B, we sit down and we go over what your expenses are, what money you have left at the end of the month, and then we look at the pros and the cons for a Medicare Advantage plan or a supplemental plan, and then we look at your drugs, and then we determine.
That's really why I think it's really important, Mark, when we work with you at Betrayal Wealth, is you're not going someplace else to find out about Medicare. We're doing your retirement planning. We're doing that income plan for you. So with the income plan, we're talking about we have X dollars that we're using from our salaries right now. And then when you retire, you're going to have a 401k, a thrift savings plan, maybe a 403b. You have Social Security. You might be blessed to have a pension if you're a federal, state employee, and some private. So we know what our income is. Now we're going to go over expenses. We're going to calculate the expenses. We're going to talk about, okay, what makes more sense for you with your family history? Does it make more sense to go with a Medicare Advantage? Does it make more sense to go to a supplemental plan? How much is it going to cost you? And then we get the plan because guess what? I know the cost maximum is going to be for the year.
Exactly.
That's really a big advantage, I think.
Yes.
So when you call us at 302-330-2166 or go to Patria Wealth, that's Patria Wealth.com, let's talk about this. Let's start seeing what that looks like. Really, Mark, when we talk about retirement, Angie will attest to this, it's very confusing. It's gray. I have in my mind, I am leaving X day. And then they think everything just magically appears. It's like the magician at the circus, right? But it's not that way. We make it very, very black and white. We kind of hold your hand going through step A, step B, step C.
Absolutely.
You're retired. We need to make sure our will's updated. We need to make sure we have a trust in place maybe. We have to make sure Medicare is lined up. How about that retirement plan? How are we going to leave our legacy behind for our children? Oh my gosh. You may have RMDs, folks. We're 73 years old. I have to start taking money. Where's it going to come from? Which bucket am I going to pull from a qualified money? And what am I going to do with the money? It's a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. You're going to retire one time. Leslie just retired 2 weeks ago, and she thought X was going to happen. Thank goodness she has a good advisor she sleeps with at night that we can plan this correctly and make sure we understand those questions and get to the next step. And that's what we've been doing. And now Angie's living through the Medicare. I'm living through a recently retired spouse. We are in your shoes.
Yes.
Yep.
And the goal with us is that we're looking at what suits you as an individual best, not what suits Patria Wealth, what works for you as the client. Because what fits George's shoe doesn't fit. I'm not going to fit in George's shoe for sure, everybody.
Well, hold on, wait a minute, excuse me. I wear a size 15.
I wear a size 7.
You have the same size foot as Mark Owens has. Oh my gosh.
Take a shot every week. It happens. You know, one thing we talk about every week here on Family First Retirement, the team at the Patria Wealth Group, they walk it like they talk it. George's bride, Leslie, literally just retired. She is living her best retirement life, and George is seeing the effects of her retirement every single day. We're talking about in-house CPA Ernie Clias. He is there every day working with your taxes. Angie works with Med. This is the team that you work with every single day. And Angie, as we're talking about the importance of Medicare, let me give that number one more time, 302-330-2166, or you can meet the team at patriawealth.com, P-A-T-R-I-A wealth.com. But we do have a representative standing by, 302-330-2166. In its most basic form, Angie, what is the biggest mistake that adults make when it comes to Medicare?
They make the wrong choices because they're misinformed. And that is our job, is to keep the customer informed and up to date of what's going on. We don't want don't make a rash decision when you're moving forward. When you retire with Medicare, you have a one-time opportunity, everybody, to get a supplemental plan without underwriting. So whatever plan you go into, there's no underwriting. If you choose a Medicare Advantage plan, say, and then you want to go next year to a supplemental plan, there is underwriting. So the opportunity might not be that you're able to get into that plan. So we don't want you to make an error in any decisions that you make. It's very, very important to make the right decisions. Let us help you and guide you through it.
We had a customer going with that same scenario.
Yes.
And when they came in, Paul was set to keep his health insurance. It was an employee that was able to keep his health insurance. We had talked to him. His wife said, no, we're going to switch to supplement.
And he went behind our back
and canceled it.
Ooh.
And then he got disturbing news. He's not healthy. And he said, I need to get on that now. And the answer is, we can't. So that's why it's really important to understand how we're going to move forward with this, how you're going to be in the best place. To get all the pros and there are cons to everything, right? We know that. The pros and the cons. So you can make the right choice. When you call us at 302-330-2166, let us help you take those steps.
Angie, as we slowly put a bow on this weekend's show, if you're talking to an adult right now who's got questions, a little confused, maybe they feel a little overwhelmed about Medicare, about Medicaid, what would you tell them right now as they begin this process of trying to claim their Medicare?
Give me a call and we will help guide you. Anybody that's heading towards the age of 65, if you're 3 months into turning 65, please give me a call. We'll give you the pros and the cons, go over everything with you, and help you make that educated decision.
Every time we have you on the show, and I love having you on the show, we get calls every weekend from people that are just overwhelmed and confused and just have questions. So if you're listening this weekend and you just got a question, there's nothing wrong with asking the questions. It's your life's work and it's your retirement, George.
Absolutely. You get to do this one time. Why would you not do it right the first time? We have our golf outing coming out on August 25th, and you're going to be able to buy mulligans that day. So if you make a bad shot, who cares? You use a ticket, you drop a ball. That's not mulligan available for retirement.
Right, yeah.
You can't do this for Medicare. The options are you have a short window of opportunity. You need to do it right the first time, and you need to work with people that do this every day. Do me a favor. Don't go on Google and say, best way to retire with Medicare.
Yeah.
Because we all know, folks, if it's on the internet, it must be true. It has to, right? This is not one of those things. This is not one of those times you DIY something. You need to speak to people that are in the trenches, so to speak, every day doing this and understand this and what's the best options for you. And that's what happens when you contact the team at Betrayal Wealth. Give me a call, meet my team, meet Angie, meet Alex, meet Jared, meet Achilles, meet Ernie Calias, our CPA. It's about getting it done right the first time. And not just for today, but it's about the foundations being laid for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years in retirement. The 90,000 hours that you worked over these 30, 40 years, we're now playing for the 90,000 hours of life retirement afterwards.
Yep.
And how we're going to go forward. If it's going to be traveling the country or if it's going to be going to Europe on vacation and spending time with your children. That's what this is about. And when you work with my team here at Betrayal Wealth, our goal and our objective is to give you the right answers the first time to have the best retirement possible and do all your dreams come true.
Insurance and annuities offered through George A. Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.